Your skill with a weapon comes from your Mandalorian upbringing. Those skills alone will not be enough to defeat our enemy.
Who the fuck you think you are, eh?
Greetings
Hey!
and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. This week we are talking about Ahsoka episode 3, fucking fly or something. I don't remember the title.
Time to fly.
Time to fly. Thank you. Thank you.
And fly away.
I believe I can
The
fly.
show. So before we get into the episode, let's talk to our distinguished and bizarre panel. With me, as always, he is my wingman. He is my partner in crime on this channel. He is Shieldwall of Dragons. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, gonna get into this this show, talk about it and stuff. So
You sound like Rick Grimes from Walking Dead.
yeah, Carl, where are you at, Carl? Anyway, yeah, Carl. Yeah, so it's gonna be a good show. I think lots to talk about in this this episode. I know there are a lot of people out there that like this show, that see a lot of positive things. I can see where they're coming from with some of their takes on it, but I don't agree with other ones. So we'll get into that. Anyway, it's good to be here.
Right on, right on. Good to have you back. She will tell you the way. She is back yet again, despite her best instincts. She is the Untamed Mando. Welcome back, Mando. How are you this week?
I am doing all right. I have been trying to crank out videos as much as I can, and apparently there were some videos that I cross-wired with other videos, and I got that fixed, thankfully. But yeah, just this episode, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I really had a problem with some of the Mandalorian takes. And you'll understand what I'm saying when we get into that later.
Yes.
But as you can guess, like with my name being Untamed Mando, Untamed Mandalorian, I take issue when people hate on Mandalorian culture, and I will stab them with my vibroblade.
Accepted.
Minecraft.
Accepted. His ancestors will sing praises of his beard. He is back with us once again. He is Tyler the Redbeard. Welcome back, my friend. How are you this week?
She had a much better intro than I would have because she ended up like stabbing somebody in the end.
Well, that happens.
And it took my phone
rules
away,
on the show.
but,
Sorry.
that's
I've got
fun.
some like Witcher swords behind me.
No,
for
it was
for
good.
those.
It was good. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Right on, right on, right on. He is the scourge of Gotham, the nemesis of the Dark Knight. He is Joker Voice. Welcome back to the show, my friend. How are you?
Oh, pleasure to be back here as I'm on work release from Arkham. This counts as
Excellent.
work watching these episodes.
It does so much. He is the meme master of the interwebs, using his powers for good instead of evil. He is Jacob Ironside. Welcome back, Jacob, and I'm glad to have you on the panel now. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I'm glad to be on the panel again. It's always a pleasure to come on this show, Roman.
Well, and I appreciate it. Despite our topics, we do try to make it a welcoming environment. You can be popped by many things. Corn is popped by hot oil. Balloons are popped by sharp objects. He is popped by culture. He is Josh McDonald. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hello. I'm happy to be back. How are you, sir?
You're pretty just always
He's
waiting to go
alive.
over.
He's
Look,
breathing oxygen.
I had a Roman moment a second ago because
Whoa.
for whatever reason,
You got
work
lost?
on Thursdays, huh?
You got lost?
No, well, kind of. Work on Thursdays end up always being a shit show. So I'm like racing to get home. So I'm like rebooting my computer so it'll work well. And I'm like going to Twitter to find the link. And I'm like, where the fuck is that little blue bird? Where is that little blue bird? And I'm like, it's X now. And I was like, man, If there were ever a Roman moment, that was it.
That is a Roman
Yeah,
moment.
no,
right there.
you're not wrong.
That is a
You're
Roman
not wrong.
moment. Yes.
Except Roman he'd be going in the wrong direction for 15 minutes and then figure that out.
And then
And
then
he
it
had
has
his
a Marge video.
He'd have his Marge voice going.
When you hit the chick in a leather bikini with 2 whips standing on the side of the street, you know you've gone
That
too
wasn't
far.
me.
Yeah.
That was somebody
And-
else.
Or you're going the right
I
way.
know those girls.
Okay, so we're a little light this week, but we got some
Like,
new
oh, you mean
shows
Selena? Yeah, I know her.
that are premiering this night. So there's some folks over there as well, we welcome them to our world. So Subtle is out there. Subtle, always good to have you out there,
What's up, Subtle?
despite yourself. Zax, welcome, Zax. Good to see you, my friend. Always love
And
to
your
have
shoulders.
Zax out there. And Zach Shoulders, which actually have their own YouTube channel now, and you should go check them out. America's 2001, welcome. Ducka. That
My
may
editor.
be about Stephen Ransom is going to be popping back and forth the evening. He's checking out the new stuff on the interwebs.
So you're saying he's a swinger?
Entirely possible. Oh, your Barmy just popped in as well. Hello and welcome.
When you say Stephen Ransom's checking out other things on the interwebs, do you mean bonus holes?
No, and it's not that video that Copa keeps trying me to click the link on. That's not it. And I still haven't done it, and you can't make me. So
Yeah, don't do it. I did it, and my computer's never been the same.
No, you're going to get a virus. Either you or your computer is going to get a virus. Nothing good is going to happen.
On the upside, you're making you're mining Bitcoin for somebody in Eastern Europe.
For someone, definitely. Oh, and Bobby Wold just popped in. Welcome. Yeah, I know. They are the New Republic. Mother of God, they are
So incompetent.
fucking inept.
Oh
Mind
my
you, this is-
god.
Mind you,
I
this is the
demand
same
use
New
Proper
Republic
ranks when
that was
discussing these characters. I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
And the Empire works for Dark Helmet.
Oops.
and the New
only he were
Republic
there.
was founded by Han, Luke, and Leia. They were the
I'm not familiar with those characters, Joker. I'm sorry. What are they? Are they new? Are those new characters?
they were old characters in the really old films, but when Disney got a hold of Star Wars, they improved it. So all the old characters.
Yeah, this actually tracks the way that the New Republic is incompetent, and then how they portrayed those characters in the sequel trilogy. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, all those old characters were just white racists.
Yep. Well, it goes without saying. Yeah, but this takes place. This is only. I mean, the Empire has been down for. Did we decide 7 years? Is that we figured out about that?
At least.
About seven.
Yeah,
Okay.
long enough for them to just let Imperials into the Republic
Every
unsupervised.
single level of government
Yeah, let's
in
just
the New Republic.
Is still.
Hey. They have a re-education program, and they've all sworn oaths of loyalty.
Yeah, I saw that in. Was that Kenobi that they showed us the re-education program?
No,
Mando.
it was
I can
Mando season 3.
I can just see them interviewing these people.
I
So
got
you
a
were
little
a
mixed up.
spy for the
okay.
Empire. How would you like to work in our government?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have a no-fly list for anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
you were in the upper echelons of the Empire, but we'll go ahead and give you a top secret job.
Hey,
Kenobi.
no, and we're gonna dive in here now because oh boy, remember, folks, we watch so you don't have to. So we dive in immediately, and I don't even remember what's happening. Where are they going?
Hyperspace. Oh, they're going to the
They're going
planet.
to
The
the
planet
track where the tracker
where
says
the tracker said.
Oh, that's right. Didn't begin with a D, I think.
The
Yeah.
Kidnap.
At the end of the last episode, they the clunker droid through a tracker on the ship with the not Sith, with the big fucking hyperdrive on it. The NEP system? That sounds right, but I'm probably wrong. The chat may know.
No, it's right. You're right.
Give a fuck. So, in Ahsoka, we jump right in, and Ahsoka's doing some Jedi training with Sabime, who has zero fucking Jedi skills. And
immediately, like less than 5 minutes in this episode, and I'm already pissed off. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
So the robot, well, his name is what? Hu Yang. I call
Hu
him
Yang.
That's how I just
the Hu Yang clan. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
And he's pretending to be Grievous here.
So
I know, right? I was like, Grievous?
And so what he's doing is he can, as she hits those, her little practice stick will go through the his lightsabers, because they're just light, and then he can look at it and it'll copy all her hits. So it'll look at her technique and which ones she did correctly and not. So it's like a training thing that he does. Except I imagine he's doing, because he would train Padawans. Like the little or the younglings, so he's doing like youngling level of training with her right now.
And she doesn't. She's not doing great,
which I liked. I was afraid she was just going to be good at everything and the chosen one immediately. Yeah,
we're going to get to a problem I have here in a second. I think. Go ahead, Joker.
But this is my problem. This completely deconstructs Sabine. She's a Mandalorian. She has been around the weapons all her life. I mean, a little rust, maybe, but she should be very proficient in all forms of the weaponry.
Yeah.
Your skill with a weapon comes from your Mandalorian upbringing. Those skills alone will not be enough to defeat our enemy.
Who the fuck you think you are, right?
For thousands of years, the Mandalorians specifically made themselves to be able to counteract the Force and Jedi and Force users as a whole. Their entire fighting style is to counteract Force users and their lightsabers for thousands of years.
Yep. And I want to apologize to
Jango
George
Fett.
Lucas for what they have done to your legacy, sir.
Yeah,
I need something
Jango
stronger
Fett
than tea.
killed 6 Jedi with his bare hands.
Yep.
True. As the person who's not the ingrained Star Wars like fan, I don't really have much to add on the Mando thing. So for me, just throwing it out there, it didn't bother me. I will say I thought the scene when I first saw it was a flashback because she looked smaller and younger. Also, I thought Ezra Miller phoned in his performance here. So
here's where things. So they have the episode 4 training scene here, or a New Hope training scene on board Millennium Falcon with the blast shield down. I can't even see the target or the whatever the fuck it was.
How am I supposed to fight?
It is a callback.
So okay, I want to ask Tyler this because Tyler has made films, and he's done the film school thing. This is something he's very passionate about. In these first 3 episodes, I have seen, at least from my eyes, ripoffs of everything that Disney Star Wars has done, from JJ to Ryan Johnson, and in this episode, especially George, at least a couple times. Am I seeing something wrong, or am I kind of in the ballpark that Dave really doesn't have a lot of creative original thoughts, and he's just gonna cherry pick what others.
Just the jingle keys. Yeah, I mean that's what people want to see. So that's what that's what he sticks to. I think that's probably smart, because the other stuff they're putting out is not getting any much traction. So stick to what works.
Neither's this.
I think that's something that he's doing because he they think that audiences will be familiar with that and they'll be able to link it. Oh, this is what they're doing in the story. Because a lot of the stuff that they do in some of these shows, if you let them just go on their own, they kind of don't really make any sense unless you've seen like hours and hours and hours of other shows.
And I think that's the stuff that the only stuff that I liked in that was kind of this callback, and then the kind of dogfighting. That might be the only stuff that I actually liked in this. And was the stuff that came from the other one.
Yeah, and I was okay with this. She using the blast shield and all, because to me it shows a standardization of Jedi training. Like this is something that it's not just like Obi-Wan doesn't make it up. This is something they do with their younglings and on up. So
well, they even showed the this like type of fighting in the prequels a little bit. Like you see like before Anakin yeets the little ones, like there are like certain helmets and stuff where they like you see them practicing in one of the scenes.
So that part I was okay with. I was happy that she wasn't the bestest ever, like spinning around and I'm just gonna make you look like, you know what I mean? And it was kind of like the master apprentice kind of thing.
Wow.
Where you know, you got to kind of break them down a little bit and show them that they're, even though she's a Mandalorian, that when it comes to this style of fighting, you know, and she even admits that she's rusty, right? Because she should have been training for 7 years and she just stopped for whatever.
Agreed. Here's a problem I have with this scene though, or was she or was she not Ahsoka's apprentice?
Apparently she was.
You get the feeling, right? And that's the other thing it's kind of weird about the show, is I was confused when we get to the next part where they talk about her force sensitivity and stuff. It's like, okay, Hung Lo said that she was the least person of aptitude he's ever trained. Is that his name?
No, it's Hu Yang.
Hu Yang. All right.
I was just gonna let it go. I was just gonna be like, that's fine.
I was just letting go. I was satisfied with that. It
should be Hung Lo. That's awesome. That'd be great.
He said that Sabina's got the least amount of aptitude of any Padawan he's ever trained in 500 years or however old he is, and so, but that led me to believe that she has some sort of aptitude, right? And then we get this proves it, because she is able to do some like blocks and some things like that with the blast shield down. But then okay, is it because she's tapping the Force, or is it because she's a trained Mandalorian warrior that can use her other senses?
She's a trained Mandalorian warrior.
Well,
because they train.
We all know about this already.
Your skill with the weapon comes from your Mandalorian upbringing. Those skills alone will not be enough to defeat our enemy.
Who the fuck you think you are, right?
So at this point, I'm like, okay, she's got some kind of force sensitivity. It might be just a little bit, but you know, she's tapping into it somehow. Because otherwise, how could she do it? Or is she doing like the Zatu Ishi Blind Samurai stuff, where she's just using her other senses to do it?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. The robot. I think Ahsoka says to her, Zatachi, is this Zatachi method? Zatachi the blind swordsman?
Yeah, he is. And that part was kind of cool, is that he was telling her, do this move, and it all had names to it, right? And so that part was cool. Hey Don, how's it going? It was that part I liked. I was like, okay, they're doing a training montage. She's just not perfect all of a sudden because of who she's a girl or whatever, or a Mandalorian. She has to train, and she's not very good at it, but keep doing this for 1 or 2 more episodes, and then I'll believe that she's going to be kick-ass, because she's actually put some effort in, and she has to change her character. She has to grow.
She's 30 years old at least. She is 30 years old. She was a Mandalorian warrior for well over a decade. Like, she was late teens, early 20s as a Mandalorian. Like, from the time she was a baby
Mando,
till the time she was 20 something, she was fighting.
when she was in Rebels, she was as a part of the crew of the Ghost. She was the demolitions expert, and she was the sniper. So so battle skills is right up her
like
alley.
She was a very exceptional warrior. Like, so this training montage to me was a disgrace to the training she had, because Mandalorians train with all of their senses because they have to be able to counteract the Force, because they cannot use the Force. So they have other ways of counteracting Force users, lightsaber, them being able to Force manipulate things around them. They have to be aware of everything around them, and they have to have their senses sharper than any other person because they are up against Jedi who have the Force.
Right. And so the way that she was acting in the first episode, like a 15-year-old, like ditching the ceremony, and I'm a commander, but I'm not going to act like one. It made me feel like she just sat in Ezra's tower for 7 or 8 years and did nothing.
Yeah, that's how
Absolutely nothing. She didn't train. She didn't do anything. She didn't go anywhere.
I'm surprised she wasn't fat.
Maybe, yeah. Or I don't know. Maybe she starved. She just sat in there and starved herself, which is why she's so skinny.
Okay.
But that's so you have that, and now you've got this. So it's confusing me. If you've watched the animation, then you see this. It's a totally different character almost,
right?
To where she should
What's
be.
up, Booch?
And so that's I think why everyone is having all this cognitive dissonance with it. They're like, what the hell is going on? So it'll do cool stuff, right? Like show something familiar. Hey, this is a known Jedi training technique, but she's so far behind on where she should be. It just doesn't.
It's regressed.
Right. It just
Like,
bad.
Right.
So it's unbelievable regress. Like, sure, yes, be a little rusty. You're not used to using a sword-like thing. I mean, most Mandalorians probably use a pistol or whatnot. Or besides the point, sure, maybe some sword techniques are a little rusty. Absolutely. But the fact that she couldn't tell where Ahsoka was, like with her other senses, is what kind of made me upset, because she is supposed to be 30 years old with over 2 decades worth of experience in war and battle and living in a culture that is a warrior culture. And she's this bad?
What I'm clearly getting is Mandalorians suck. So we're gonna drop that on her. So I'm gonna say hi to some of the other folks who joined us here. Andrew Haley, welcome. I lost.
You can tell how I feel about Mandalorians.
Don,
I can tell.
Here.
Yeah.
Sean D. Sarcasm. Boosh McFadden, welcome. And where are you, sir? I have to share something that Zach sent to me. And Salty, Traveling Sea, our good friend Salty is out there. If one for Salty, I wouldn't even be on your screen right now. I appreciate him a great deal. I have to show these stills that Zach sent, because you have to look at her arms.
Oh my gosh, her arms look so weird, sir.
Can I blow this up? Like, is it gonna let me blow this up? Fuck you, Twitter.
Double.
Fuck you, you piece of shit. So check that out. So there's that, and then
That is
I'm
a
gonna
stunt
pull
double.
off for a sec, and then
there's some definition in that one where her face is
oh God.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
And then
there'll be scenes where things look cool and it makes sense, and then there'll be other scenes where you're like, wait, this isn't what I just saw.
And then we're back to the scene we were just looking at, and then you've got these incredible.
Yeah.
It looks like she's had some kind of surgery. There's just nothing there. Oops, sorry.
Another thing, the stunt double person under the mask, the moves they were making, you could tell they were trained in sword fighting.
Well, that's why they did it.
And apparently also work out. So there's a big difference there. Yeah, thanks for sending those.
Too. My arms aren't that tiny.
Good Lord. Yeah, she looks like a fucking veal in this. So Mrs. of the Empire sent me a text. She's like, and I'm doing her voice because I read in her voice as well. Where is it? Your broadcast is not available on Twitter. What gives? And so apparently we are actually not broadcasting on Twitter. I thought we were.
I saw it earlier on there.
I don't know.
I don't
know what's wrong.
Let me double check.
So, and then you get your title screen. It's very exciting. Time to fly.
So, and by the way, that was a long opening. That was a long opening. I
want to ask Josh something, because Josh, you're a writer.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. From and taking into account that you haven't watched the animated stuff, for me the dialogue seems very drawn out, and the actual dialogue itself is very cartoonish. What are your thoughts?
I feel like it's okay. So first of all, I feel like cartoonish dialogue has kind of become a thing with Star Wars since the early 2000s. I'll just put that out there. Okay. But I do think there are moments where you have vast differences in quality. There are moments where I'll hear some lines and I feel like, you know what, that sounds like Star Wars to me. And then I'll hear lines where it feels like a 20-something-year-old writer who has no idea, and this is going to go to Mando's point, has no idea about combat, has no idea about the lore, doesn't even understand anything related to battle in any way, is writing stuff that they think would work because they've seen it on other things that are science fiction or other things that are war or battle. And we've had this progressive like layering of, well, this is how they wrote it on this TV show, so it must be right. And you kind of like dumb it down. It seems like generation after generation. And that's kind of what I get here. But there are moments where I think it's decent.
By a long shot.
Oh, 100%.
Right. And I saw that too, Josh, where there are moments where certain characters have really, I think for today's day and age, profound, like, statements and things like that I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. It's going to go somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And then it winds up not. Usually.
No.
I like this shot here.
Like I just hate this episode. I just hate those little moments.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The problem, Mando, was that this episode was only little moments. This episode's fairly short. Our broadcast right now is almost as long as the episode was. And we've just been discussing the opening scene and kind of the inconsistencies with what we should know about Sabine's training as both a Mandalorian and an apprentice, and her complete lack of fucking ability to do anything.
Well, here's the thing.
Fine.
This whole next scene is where, well, I don't know if it's this scene or not.
We're in the fleet now.
Okay, so this is
we got Hera, so we're in the fleet. I actually like this shot. This
shot's good.
The space scenes look nice. I think they look good. I think the show, generally speaking, looks good.
Yeah, it looks like it has
a budget. Fucking talk, and it fucks everything.
Talking about the show, right, Don?
And then they show Hera.
Yes.
Yes. Which my main positive of this episode is by the end of the episode, we're pretty much told we're not going to see Hera the rest of the show.
And yet, well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right after what happens here. Yeah. So this is a very diverse panel. This is nice. You got a squid man, a green lady, and an African.
That's very
whatever the fuck
diverse.
He is, dude, because he's not an American. So they're talking to a group of senators because they're trying to get approval to go on this mission that they're already on.
Okay. Isn't she the Supreme Chancellor? Like the
Yes, she is. She is.
Yes.
The Mon Mothma.
What the you're thinking the same thing I am, I think, Mando. Where the fuck is Leia? Why is this not Leia's job?
I thought she was the Supreme Chancellor at one point in time.
So my main issue with this entire scene, they're wanting Hera's report, and she gives a bare bones with no real detail of these were folks who worked for Morgan Elsbeth, who is a loyalist to Grand Admiral Thrawn, who she suspects is still alive, and is doing all and is creating the weapons and ships right under our nose. We get none of that, and then this senator here, based on just what Hera says, is actually being practical, saying you want us to give you more resources to go on a wild goose chase when you can't give us any concrete evidence to back up your claim. And then she says, well, Thrawn is like no one else. He's killed my friends. So you were involved in the war to defeat the Empire. So no Imperials through that 4 years, other than Thrawn, killed any of your friends.
Yeah.
Thrawn is no different from anyone else.
But this guy is mansplaining to Hera, and she has to put him in his place.
Mm-hmm. Of course. God. Well, he also says, are you sure you're not doing this to find Ezra? Because they were, friends.
Right.
Can I make a
please.
point here? If you didn't watch Rebels, like
you have no idea what's going on, yeah.
Like me,
yeah.
Why do we give a shit who Thrawn is?
Exactly. Right. The show.
I mean, I know he's a blue guy, but that's literally all I know about him.
This scene right here. The problem with it is a lot of it is created by the fact that it's a 30-minute episode. If they would have made it longer, they could have put in a lot more, dialogue to kind of explain things. But the way that Hera explains it makes it sound like she just wants to get Thrawn for revenge for he killed a bunch of my friends.
Yeah,
there's got to be a legitimate military reason to send all these resources there.
Like,
not
she could have at least
vendetta.
said, Morgan Elsbeth is gone, and we need resources
under your nose
for her.
Escaped under your nose.
Yeah, this scene was written by someone who's never had to give a brief. Either military or otherwise.
She could have said, let me take a small task force, check it out. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But if there is, we've stopped another war.
Oh, Vex!
Vex says that about everything, though, just to be fair.
Yeah, but I guess this makes everything better.
And now, also, at the end of the scene, when Mothma says, I need to confer with my colleagues, and they make Hera leave the room. Your holograms.
You're fucking holograms.
And when ultimately what Hera would have done, the Hera from Rebels, what she would have done, whether she got approval or not, she would have gotten in the Ghost with Chopper, her son, and went to get Zeb and Callus, and she would have gone no matter what.
Yep. She would have not. She would have been like, okay, y'all say that. Fine. I'm going to grab my old crew and we're going to head on out.
Oh, well, it's like Star Trek 3. What was the answer, Admiral? The answer was no.
What really disappointed me about this scene was the hippopotamus creature guy didn't say anything.
The three-eyed cowman.
Those masks are hard to move. I guess they didn't. I guess they didn't have the budget for the animatronics.
Also, for those who didn't see the episode, where we're talking about, she put this guy next to Mon Mothma in his place. She said, "Did you fight in the war?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Well, basically, shut up then." But he's an elected official, I assume.
He's an elected official, and quite honestly, I mean, if you lolook at our elected officials, very, very few of them have actually served, but they still, they're on the military oversight committees, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It just is. That's the way civilian governments work.
Right. And she would have walked out of there not feeling too good, career-wise, if she did something like that.
100% right, dude. Right. Well, I was a general for this long. I guess I could look at how how's the canning industry,
right.
on Calamaria,
and if Hera did, and if Hera did say, okay, if you won't do it, if you will not approve this, I'm going to do it anyway. They could have said, well, that means a court martial. Hera would have said, go ahead, and gone anyway.
One of the things that I wondered too, just because naturally this is where my mind went. I understand wanting to do the whole big, we've got to go search for what's his name, Thrawn.
Yes.
Even though I think that if someone's a seasoned general, they're not going to take that much of a blatant when you know there's not enough substantial evidence, you're not going to go that blatantly strong. I didn't understand why she didn't just say, we found that there's people that are working for what are they called again? The bad guys.
The Empire?
Empire. I started to say Alliance, and I'm like, that's not
holy
right.
Shit.
I was like, wait a second. Did I miss a huge part of the show? Is there another?
I asked you for so
there?
little, and you give me so little.
It's been a hell of a day. All right.
Josh had me worried. I was like, wait, is there a secret organization I missed in the show?
My brain is mush right now.
Group working within the Senate.
My point was, since they know for a fact that there are people that are still supporters of the Empire that are actively working, building droids, doing things, she should have asked for an investigation to look deeper into that. That would have given her some type of something that she can utilize. And she didn't have to go into specifics of I'm about to go look for Thrawn because.
Wait. So Josh, that what you just did is a far better briefing than what she did. She's a general. She'll tell you that. She's clearly a general. She's fought in the war, but she doesn't know how to give a simple brief to get some resources allocated to get the job done that they need done. It's just,
or give enough of a brief so, like Josh says, they're going to investigate. That's going to tie up their hands and all the legal stuff just so she can go under their nose because they're incompetent and go do what she needs to do.
They're incompetent as fuck. They're not just
which is what Leia did.
They're incompetent as fuck.
Leia did similar stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If they install urinals, they would install them upside down. That's how fucking qualified the New Republic is to do anything.
Well,
sounds
I feel like they have to make the New Republic look completely inept because they have to prepare it for
the First Order.
The First Order.
I said the New Order. The New Order would have been way better, though. Certainly musically, it would have been more interesting.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if sure enough, the Shogun of Harlem was in charge,
I thought it was pretty good.
Was in any part of the New Republic, they would be doing way better.
Go back one slide real quick. So when I was talking about the level of writing and how vastly different it is, this moment right here is a moment where it felt like a 14-year-old girl wrote the line when she was like, well, you were a lot of help back there.
Yeah, that dude's like, I'm not torpedoing my career for you.
Yeah, also, you're the fucking general. You do, why should I speak up for you?
I am. He's a fucking, what is he, a lieutenant?
At least.
I don't know.
He's only got one. She has 5. I have no idea.
These things always reminded me of those lozenges you take if you have a sore throat.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
It also looks like the Purina One logo.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yep. He only gets fish food. She can. And then this part. God. So apparently she has a kid, which did she have a kid in the show?
That's established. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
so
I don't get.
Why doesn't he look green?
Because he's
a human.
Yeah, the human the human species has a
Kanan Jarrus. Yeah.
Who was a Jedi.
Yeah, Kanan Jarrus is his father, who was a Jedi.
There is a Clone Wars episode where this man is shacked up with one of the Twi'lek people, and he's a clone, and their kids look more like a cross between those two groups.
Right.
Well, I think you're talking about budget, though.
Bad Batch.
An episode of the Bad Batch. Yeah.
Okay,
and
okay,
it's
so
animated.
So he's
that's
not
the other
adopted then.
No,
No,
he
it's
is
a
her
kid.
biological son.
Okay, so
he's-
if a human and a Twi'lek mate, the kid always comes out looking like a human.
No,
like an SJW kid, green hair. You know, he's in all the rallies.
Is it okay? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like
try to apply too much logic to this.
I feel like he should either be green with like the human features, or be human featured skin color wise with the little like tentacle things back here. And then he needs to have Cher's half breed playing in the background.
It's Dave Filoni logic.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, don't the males have cone ears, or is that the females?
The females have cone ears.
Okay. All right.
And speaking of Dave is the voice of Chopper.
Oh, that makes
Is he?
sense.
Okay.
Yep.
He was still one of the better characters on the show.
He is the only one who he is the only character that has been consistent from Rebels to here.
That's true. Yeah, if you've seen Rebels, then you've seen it.
Which
Thrawn!
Which you should not have to watch.
I fucking hated this
hours
scene
of a show.
So
much.
here's why this scene doesn't make any
going
sense
on.
to me. Okay, if she was already her Padawan, they should have already had this conversation.
Yes,
a long time ago. It shouldn't have been, oh, I'm just now figuring it out. Oh, what do you mean I don't have force powers and anybody can do it?
How long was she her apprentice?
Exactly.
Apparently for 4 fucking minutes, Mando. 4 fucking minutes.
Well,
and they still could have had this.
Ezra was teaching her how to use the Darksaber before this, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So he should have sent something. So that to me, that's why I was like, what do you mean she doesn't have force sensitivity of any kind? Which is what this scene is trying to say.
Okay, now this scene here completely changes the nature of the Force.
Yes, it completely changes canon.
This says that everyone is Force sensitive. It's just how talented you are at the wielding it. No, it is true that the Force, at least from George's standpoint, the Star Wars canon, that the Force is an energy field that is created, and it binds the galaxy together. It surrounds all humans, but to become a Jedi or to become a Sith or a Knight, or as we now know, the Knight is just to the ability to manipulate that energy is not inherent in everyone.
Right. It's been stated that the Force the Force is in everyone, but you have to have an aptitude to be able to manipulate the midichlorians and the Force to your will. Not everyone can just do it.
Now, if everybody has the ability to do it, why do we need all these different militaries with different ways to do things?
Right.
They should all be Force users.
I thought Sabine made a good point. She's like, wait, so if we all can do, why isn't everyone a Jedi?
To quote, right? To quote Syndrome from the Incredibles. If everyone is special, no one is.
Agreed. I felt like this entire scene was nothing but a seed or a plant to prepare for war. We've got that Star Wars movie that's coming out in the future that goes like 25,000 years in the past or whatever for the discovery of the Force.
That movie is not happening.
It's dead. It's not.
Well, I actually read an article talking about it earlier.
Indy 5 pretty much torpedoed that.
That's the question I have, Don. Are midichlorians even still a thing, or did you just forget about them, or they're like, nah, that's not canon anymore?
If you go to Disney Star Wars's website, I think it does mention the midichlorians because it is in the prequels, and the prequels are considered canon.
So let me ask you this: can you get a midichlorian in transfusion?
Is this a sex thing?
Not as far as
that's why I think the midichlorian stuff is stupid. Sorry.
Yeah,
I personally hate the midichlorians.
I was going to say, can you
every fucking thing about it. I wish
take
they had never introduced
force whales or whatever they are, something that's force sensitive. The wolves, can you like drain their blood, make it into a pill, and then just give it to somebody to get midichlorians in their body so they can become like Super Saiyan or whatever with the force?
I mean, Moff Gideon was like, "I'm going to make clones of myself infused with the force." So
I feel like that'll be a future show or a movie revolving around
midichlorian
transfers.
But that's what they just need to pick a canon and stick with it.
Yeah.
Because the original trilogy did not have midichlorians. Midichlorians was not part of that stuff. They felt the need to try to define something that was largely undefinable. And that's how you get something goofy like the midichlorians. You don't need to, everything doesn't need to have this concrete why it is. Why is someone force sensitive? Doesn't fucking matter. They are. That's the generational need to over-explain things. That's one of the things I don't like about the prequels, is that they try to explain things they don't need to fucking explain. Anyway,
right.
My rant on that.
So
I don't think you're wrong. I think that's
so in that scene, she's like, try to move the teacup, and she can't do it. And
we all did that after Star Wars. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
I still do that.
I'm doing it right now to get another beer. So we jump ahead, and so she's getting the transmission now from Hera saying, "Hey, I didn't do a good fucking job, so we're not going to be joining you. You're on your fucking own." Cool. So the show has been Sabime sucks at Jedi shit. Hera sucks at giving briefs. Back to Sabime can't do Jedi shit. And now Hera's explaining that she's not good at stuff either, so she won't be joining them to be bad in the present. That's what we've gotten out of the show so far this week. That's not fucking funny, Subtle. Oh, here she is trying to move the fucking cup. Like I said, we've all done it. I can't even blame her for this. Oh, and then I'm not coming. And now we're showing up at Destination B through hyperspace.
Oh, she'll show up at exactly the right time.
Mm-hmm. That is a punchable fucking face.
I thought that's your girl, Tyler, or only with long hair.
Only, after she cut her hair, she kind of looks like. Did you guys see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
Like the grown-up short round guy. That's kind of what she looks like with the short hair. Doesn't really do it. The long hair.
Sabime short round.
Yeah.
I that's fine. Sabime short round.
I think, me personally, I think she looks better with the short hair. That's just me. Okay. She looks more like that. She looks more like the animated character. How about that?
She does look more like the character. Yeah.
I liked her better when she had the helmet on. So now they are being attacked by the bad guys, the mercenaries.
Shin Hati and her little group of bug guys.
Oh well, it's just Shin Hati and
the other
Mark,
Mark,
something
like
however
that.
we pronounce his name.
The
guy who mumbles with the helmet.
They each had two flunkies with them too. Two like little wingmen or whatever.
They had a couple rando dudes because you have to kill off somebody.
Right.
So they're in their 1947 fucking aircraft from World War II. And they're going in, and this ship takes so many fucking. My son brought this up because we're watching it together. He's like, that ship gets shot an awful lot and nothing happens to it. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, even with shields, they're getting hit and there's like no damage. It's like boom, 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 nothing.
I thought that the blaster, look at those, they look kind of underpowered. The green shots they're hitting them with.
Using that stormtrooper ammo.
Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not fat like the
and they don't sound like blasters either. They sound like, I don't know what they sound like. It's just doesn't sound like Star Wars blasters.
I guess for me, I didn't mind it as much because I knew they had deflector shields. And so it's like, oh, okay, the deflector shields are doing what they're supposed to do, deflecting as much as it can, but the ship is still taking some damage, but not as much as it would without the shield.
I don't know.
Another thing.
Falcon definitely, when Millennium Falcon got shot, you knew it.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
That was my comparison.
There wasn't much suspense, and they had the line at one point where like, oh, we're down to 10% on the shields. But it's like, I never once thought anyone was in any kind of remote danger at all.
No, exactly. Yeah,
one
no.
Thing,
and two,
one thing I did like
Ahsoka
is.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Asaka is flying in a straight line toward the mystery ship that she's more interested in than the 6 starfighters trying to blow them up.
Yes.
It's like, so why don't you take care? You can't go see what the mystery ship is if you're blown up.
Evasive action, I believe they call that in Star Trek.
Yes.
Or evasive maneuvers, at least.
I know.
She looks like she just ate some Taco Bell at 2 a.m. and it's catching up to her.
I know that look.
We've all had it.
This is when
Snake Eyes.
These scenes are when he talks, right? Yeah, Snake Eyes when he actually talks. So
I liked it better when he didn't talk.
He has kind of like a robot voice almost. So I'm still going with he doesn't have a bottom jaw. He doesn't have a bottom jaw.
He's the new Malik.
Bane.
Yeah, Malik.
Voice.
Yep.
Now I've heard that some folks say that this fight was dumb or whatever because it was a 2D fight in a 3D space, and I'm like, but that's been a staple. But that's been a staple of Star Wars the whole time. So I give that a pass. That's not an issue.
Like I said, and the look of it was fine for me.
Jenna.
Oh, hey, Jana, how are you? The look of it was fine. It was just some of it was physics, which we're going to talk about in a second. But a lot of it was
physics.
The damage. I don't know. Like I said, the ship should have had more damage.
What I liked about it was it showed that shields actually do something in a show. Because a lot of times in Star Trek they'll get like 2 hits and be like, oh, our shields are down, and then it's like, come on, the shield's got to be better than that, right? And
no, cool,
but the other thing is that neither side was too good. So
that much is certain.
Right. And then also that Sabine, she was a little rusty with the tail gun, and
which should not happen.
Well, they've established that she's done jack and shit for like 7 or 8 years, I guess. So play with that cat in her little tower. But
so here's the ring, the magic ring.
The Eye of Sion.
Also, for some reason, I think they had to fly steady so that Hung Lo could get the scanner reading on it.
He asked them to steady the ship so that way he could figure out what the big Cheerio was.
We're gonna have a thing come up here as soon as this fucking thing starts shooting. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she is. Yeah, at least we got
Shin Hati.
Yep.
Woo! She is my 3rd favorite character on the show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One, because she doesn't talk too much, and that's pretty much it. So here we have the ring,
hyperdrive ring,
the Eye of Sauron,
which is
it's got these big hyperdrives on it, so it's going to be pretty badass once it's functional. But it's got a fucking cannon on it as well, apparently.
That's the bridge.
Right? This is it.
Yes, that's the bridge where Morgan Elsbeth is hanging out with her robot buddies.
The robots are more competent than everyone else in this episode.
They're using this to go to a different galaxy.
That's what
they break.
So big.
Does that break Star Wars?
No,
not at all.
No, because
there was like this force block around the solar system. They couldn't get out.
Nope.
This is one of my big fucking problems.
Smoke in space.
So the fucking cannon is shooting, and it's like you're in fucking Pearl Harbor with the blast going off in the fucking air.
There's also sound out there too. So
you don't have this. This can't work. This is a physics problem for me. You can have the fire because it's bursting out, oxygen's coming out of the aircraft. You can have that. Got it.
Okay.
But the little smoke burst from the shell blast doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
So let me address this. This ring is going to be large enough to bring a capital ship. At least that's my thought. To bring
that's my understanding.
Yeah, you go collect it and bring it back. Yeah.
To bring Thrawn's capital ship back to this galaxy.
Yes, it's going to go get the capital ship, go around it, attach to it, and then bring the capital.
And it's going to use the pathway that the space whales use to travel.
Yes,
so much. So we don't really have it. We don't get a real good indicator as to just how big this motherfucker is. It's big. It's not Death Star big, but it's pretty fucking big.
Yes, it has a bridge.
I mean, because a Star Destroyer is a capital ship, I think, but it's not a super.
Yes.
Super Star Destroyer is like a super capital ship, but a Star Destroyer is a capital ship.
Well, and throughout the show, you kind of, I guess you do, because it kind of flies through here. I think through the middle of it, so you do get a sense of scale. And I don't think a super Star Destroyer would fit in there.
No, a Super Star Destroyer is the size of the man. It's
the
size. It's the size of Manhattan. The size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, that's pretty fucking big. And yet it crashes into Death Star, and it looks fucking tiny in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Yes. Shooting. Fucking robots panicking.
Okay, so when
here's where they actually,
Well, I was gonna ask this. When Sabine shot down the first fighter, and she went, "Woohoo! I got one." Was anybody expecting to hear
Don't get cocky?
Don't get cocky.
Don't get cocky.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. It kind of called back to that.
Great
it's
kid.
like,
Don't get
it's
cocky.
like it's like bad key jingling
Here,
because it's you know what they're trying to do, but they just are not achieving it. Especially for people. I mean, old people like me. Yes, I remember these lines instinctively, but younger folks who, A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi are not their first Star Wars movies. They may not have that same association with these lines, and like the throwback with the visor fight to Luke in A New Hope. So
honestly, if you're a new viewer, like just a normie, I don't even understand how you figure out what's going on in the show.
Right over your fucking head.
There's no way you could.
And here's
actually,
the other.
Go.
So here's the other thing. After the fighters overtake them, they get in front of them, and I'm like, does this ship not have guns on the front? They could have just shot them. They're flying literally in front of them, and it didn't make any sense. This is before it got disabled.
Because we need Space Saiyan, the Space Super Saiyan.
I thought
as Vegeta.
Ship taking damage.
I'm glad you noticed that too, Joker. I was like, oh, Vegeta, female. Ooh.
Yes,
I like this
Joker, I think you brought this up on your review. I think it was you. Forgive me if it wasn't. The many shows that you were supposed to have watched before.
Oh my god, I'm not gonna watch any of that.
Before Ahsoka actually fucking makes sense to you. I've seen, I'd say 90% of them, so I get the whole mix. But it's a long fucking list, Joker. It's a long fucking list.
I think the only one that I've seen is the Two Girls, One Droid, I believe.
God damn it, Josh!
That's amazing, Josh. Thank you.
Hey, that's my territory, buddy.
Which is if you do all the homework, that is way more hours to commit to watching this show than just watching this show. Way more.
Yeah.
Can you send me that link?
Copa has it, I'm sure, because Copa keeps trying to send.
Copa's probably got it.
Yeah. Not good. So the ship is damaged.
There's
and
aspects of good writing here. I like when the Shin Hati's like talking to the Darthamir witch, saying, "Oh, good job, you almost got him.
Yeah, I'll
I
go
thought
do
that
the
was
job.
good. That was a good.
Oh yeah, that was
gig,
funny. I thought that was fine. The other thing that's really making me upset is, where is Sabine's armor? We got the previous episode. She's in her Mandalorian armor. She's like, "I'm ready, Captain." And then in this scene, it's just did she just chuck it?
Because we all know.
Your skill with a weapon comes from your Mandalorian upbringing. Those skills alone will not be enough to defeat our enemy.
Who the fuck you think you are, eh?
Because my thought is, when did she said, I see you've erased all of my presets. I would think because of what Boba Fett did with Slave One, all the presets are now linked into her helmet. Just turn down her her scope, and she's like super sniper at that point.
Well, that's clearly not the case.
Mando's like, you understand. This is the way.
Like, people that, like, oh my God. I just wish that Sabine would say, "Hey, I am no longer part of the Mandalorian culture. I am Dar Manda. I have turned my back on my Mandalorian heritage." Then all fine. I'd be like, "Okay, cool, whatever, fine."
Ex-Manda. So again, just looking at this still, the look of the show is good.
It looks good.
Actually, I think
the
music for these episodes is also really well done.
It's Kevin Kiner.
If only the writing and the dialogue were better, you'd actually have something.
Well, also, if you didn't have to watch, several movies, several TV shows, several everything to understand what the heck is even going on in this show, it'd be great.
Well, and Roman, the music is Kevin Kiner, who did the score of Clone Wars and Rebels.
Okay.
That's probably why.
I'm going to do a little simping just briefly. I loved Clone Wars. I thought Clone Wars.
I did too. It was amazing.
And even the last season, I really, really enjoyed.
That was good.
They because they stopped doing Clone Wars so they could do Rebels, which I didn't like as much. I still thought it was okay. It's still better than a lot of what we're getting. And when I say a lot, I mean most of, with maybe that much of an exception.
Out of Disney Star Wars, that and Rogue One are the two best.
But then they brought Clone Wars back, and that season, like I said, there were some very emotional and the stakes in Clone Wars, especially the last animated series, were higher than the stakes you get in Ahsoka.
Yeah,
by a long shot.
And just like you're saying that this looks good. For about $250 million, it better look good.
Right?
Tyler,
how much money they spent on it?
For what you get, like I said, visuals are great. The visuals aren't everything. Doctor Who's visuals suck, and I'm going back to not modern. Well, even not the Jodie Whittaker era, and some of the Capaldi, but
anything previous to that.
It's the story, the writing. It's the writing, and the delivery of the actors.
Yes.
This
I said
looks
the actors
actually
do okay. It's just the writing is so bad. The actors can't do much.
Mando, you're right. You're right. It's not like. Let's get to the end of this one because I want to talk about Ray Stevenson. And
I feel like Rosario
is
mailing it in.
I think
this entire episode, maybe this entire show. I don't know.
Rosario Dawson was a bad choice for Ahsoka.
See, I disagree. I like her for Ahsoka. I'm about to say that. Dang it. Ahsoka.
She's just very, very monotone. Like, I don't want to be here.
Right. Yeah. Now, somebody said, somebody said that what happened at the end of Clone Wars kind of changed her because during Clone Wars there was always an element of whimsy, some playfulness. She can be serious, but there's still that element. We saw a little less of it in Rebels, and I can almost buy. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that she is so stoic, but I can give a little leeway to like, okay, because of the end of Clone Wars, this has truly affected her.
Yeah,
so, but
I
she
also-
wasn't like that. Was
Sorry,
it the
John.
Mandalorian when they introduced her? She had some personality
little.
there.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'd still
But
even say,
they
like in
don't
these
show
last
that,
few
though.
episodes, she does have a
Show
few
it.
just quips. It's not anywhere near as flamboyant as she used to be, but she still has a little, like, to me, in my opinion, has a little bit of quippiness, a little bit of sarcasm. Maybe it's not as flamboyant as it used to be, but it's still there. She still has a hint of humor.
And
And then the only one on this panel that has this opinion, apparently.
And I'm just saying,
I don't mind Rosario Dawson, and actually,
I'm
and
just gonna
Joker,
say-
I do agree with what you said. Some heavy shit went down in that last episode in the last season of Clone Wars. Some heavy motherfucking stuff.
And I am just gonna say, Shin's eyeliner is on point.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It does look good. So the headpieces in this remind me of the prequels that Obi-Wan and
that's
Anakin
totally
were
what
wearing in their
those
fighters.
look like.
Very similar.
Also,
I think
Jango Fett too has a similar headset too.
Yeah, similar.
And here we go throwing
Oh, we go.
physics out the fucking window.
Space Poppins again.
I
Hated
hate
this.
scene.
I hated this.
Powers.
Okay,
Yeah,
Josh, please explain why.
Just okay. Well, for multiple reasons, but one, the idea that they make a point to show her moving slowly in space while walking on the wing, which fine, I can believe that. But you've got 3 jets shooting at her, and she's suddenly fast enough to deflect them with her lightsabers, which is stupid. But also, it's stupid that they're shooting directly at her. You've got a ship that is completely dead in the water. She's like this tiny fraction of the size of it, and you're going to shoot the other wing. Shoot the other wing.
yeah.
Right.
Shoot the engine, blow it up.
Fucking subtle. Yeah,
I'm not
Oh
gonna-
God, no!
Ah!
I was going to say, I'm not going to ask how Settle knows that.
Right
This
now,
is-
this is fucking scene.
This is not
right
how
here.
space works.
I just figured this was something that happened in Rebels that they were doing live action.
No, this is the physics part that I'm talking about.
So
Her
when
stupid ass would be drifting through space until she fucking froze
when
to
she
death.
said, when they were in the cockpit, she said, "I'll be right back. I'm going to handle him, and you fix the ship, Sabine." I was like, no. I was like, she better be getting in like a stub fighter, a little shuttle that's got like laser cannons on it or something, and she's going to fly around, a jetpack, something. Nope. And I was like, I know it. She might as well ride a horse out that fucking door. To the ship. You know what I mean? But
They have done that in Star Wars.
But
They have.
look how low this thing is.
Why is it so close?
You have distance and guns. Would you fly that close to it? Unless you're trying to, like, I don't know, somehow hit her like some kind of kamikaze
That
attack
shot there too. Wouldn't it have just sent it into their ship? It's so close. It could have
Anyway,
just
so she
sent it
gets
right
a
into their
lightsaber
ship.
kill with like the shortest lightsabers in the world, and it cuts right through it. But apparently, lightsabers.
You can get stabbed in the chest and be fine with a little
You're
scratch on your
fine.
tummy.
It'll
Right,
like
exactly. She's telling me.
Yeah,
it can cut through fucking metal in space.
So again, this goes back to kind of Dave doesn't know what the hell he's doing, because you just shown a lightsaber go through the structure of a ship and just disintegrate it, but you get stabbed in the chest and nothing happens.
Yeah. This scene, I promise you, this scene is a product of one of the worst things that can happen in writers' rooms, and it's wouldn't it be cool if, or wouldn't it be funny if?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Really?
Rian Johnson.
That sounds like
this is Rian Johnson, right?
Almost everything they do is that. Oh,
Yeah, no,
if this guy.
Like,
wait, how are we going to make sure the turkey dragon gets away? Oh, they won't have any fuel in their jetpack. Then, end of season 3 of Mando, they're
they
like,
can go out of the
yeah,
fucking
they're like, oh, would be cool
atmosphere.
if he was able to go into space with this. But wait a second, didn't you just determine they don't have enough fuel for that?
Nah,
Where
it
did they
doesn't
get
matter.
fuel?
Yeah.
How are they able to go through a planet's atmosphere with freaking jetpacks that can't go 5 miles horizontal in another direction?
And now we have
The
Deus
worst part.
Ex Purgle.
That
Deus
looks like
Ex
an
Purgle.
angry penis.
Just coming right at you.
Tentacles.
And Josh, he would know.
Once again,
We
Josh,
get the
send it a link.
space whales that can space travel. Woo.
Yeah, what's the space whale been doing? Like,
Deus Ex Purgle.
I'm for space whale.
Fucking
hunting.
space whales. They're just kind of hanging out in the atmosphere of Rando Planet here. Space.
What is the
whaling
point of
out.
the space whales, by the way?
It's a callback.
You can travel through. This is
Yeah, but what do they do? Like, why are they relevant?
They
to
can
anything?
jump
They
through
can travel
hyperspace.
through hyperspace
hyperspace.
without a hyperspace engine. Those whales are where early pioneers learned how to travel through hyperspace and learned the technology to build hyperspace drives.
like
They
thousands
are-
and
they're also
thousands of
force
years
sensitive.
ago.
Yes, they
in the
they
lore.
built giant saddles so they could sit on top of them.
Basically.
and whereas the humans, they made hyperspace lanes, like specific paths. The star whales don't need a specific path. They can just travel through hyperspace at will.
But they do have
Where have I heard
migration
this before?
patterns.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Star Trek Discovery.
Oops, I think I'm. Oh god, that's so good.
Wow.
Accepted.
Sex.
Oh my god, I fucking hated this so much. Just random insertion of the space whale.
So they're basically
They had to
doing
put them in
a,
somewhere.
an asteroid field made out of space tentacles.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, our heroes make it through, and the villains get lost in the whale.
So obviously they land on the planet that was in the opening scene of the second JJ Star Trek film, because it's the exact same forest.
Yeah.
The red forest.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the Easter eggs that they put in this episode to call back to the sequel trilogy, to tie it all together in this nice little bow of dog poop.
So they fuck up in this scene as well, like they continued to do throughout the episode, because they're sitting there. They're in dark mode. They are fucking hiding.
Right.
They even shut down Hung Low so he doesn't give off a energy signal.
Right.
Yeah. And then they immediately flip. I guess it's okay to turn it back on now.
And then they're sitting here for like a minute, and they're like, well, yeah, exactly. Let's power on the ship. Oh, everything's fine.
Yeah, they just passed by us 2 seconds ago. They obviously wouldn't look behind them.
Well, they're gonna have radar. Like, forget looking.
I also wanted to point this out. Ahsoka's sabers are hanging on her belt right here. Yep. When she is floating in space, they are nowhere around. And when you first see her come on the ship into the bridge, they're not on her belt. So they just magically reappeared.
She has a special hiding place.
It's just a
It's
just a continuity editing error. Yeah, because I saw the same thing. I was like, wait, she lose her lightsabers in space? And then she was here, and I was like, oh wait, she had them.
Oh, it's so true.
Joker, I feel like her Vegeta outfit, actually, I feel like she did it better than Vegeta because of her butt.
Yes.
Vegeta's butt was too flat.
Okay, so now this is again part of the cartoonish writing. So you've already established that it's a hyperspace ring.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're repeating that it's a hyperspace ring instead of just saying, okay, okay, Hung Lo, what are the specs on that hyperspace ring? So you don't need to say, well, this appears to be a very large hyperspace ring. Well, no shit. We already know this.
Thanks for letting us know that. We fucking figured that already.
Well, Joker,
Good
people are watching
deal.
this and on their phone, so they need to repeat important stuff so people get to
okay.
And the highlight of the episode.
Okay.
If you repeat it twice, they're more likely to catch it.
To catch Jenna.
Whilst texting.
There's a terrible space battle that shouldn't have happened. Physics were challenged, and somehow they survived with the help of
It's actually right.
space skills
And
their testicles.
and then this
It's
happened.
actually right.
And then this happened.
Go find them.
Poor Ray
Hang on a
Stevenson,
sec.
my favorite character in this whole fucking series, is in this for like 4 seconds.
5
and yeah,
seconds.
that's what he does.
And he's
They're on the
completely
planet.
wasted.
Yep.
Go get them.
Go get them. And
All
then it just zooms out, and that's the episode. That's the episode, guys.
And yes, that in a nutshell, my dear viewers. I even got the close up because it was my favorite part. My favorite part of the episode was the last 5 fucking seconds when they gave me the character that I actually wanted to see because he's more interesting. He has a more interesting background.
See, Roman, 5 seconds is all you need.
Hell.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Hold on.
I'm just
There you go.
I'm thinking people are going to be very angry the way he gets killed.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be very angry.
Yeah.
Now
they're gonna kill him in such a way that it's just going to make people
Does the
angry.
space
I have heard
space will fall on him?
I have heard someone pose this theory, and I'm like, oh dear God, really? That Bayan Skoll has a black onyx ring. Someone else from the sequel trilogy wears a black onyx ring.
Is it me?
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Oh.
If he becomes,
no, he can't. Snoke is a clone. We already know that.
but he's a deformed one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he's not a deformed Bayan Skoll or Scone.
You don't know
what the
this
fuck
yet.
is his name? Skull.
We don't know what the Emperor decided what his clones are going to look like.
They're delicious. They don't look like that. Otherwise they would
We
look
don't
like
know.
fucking Palpatine.
Which?
No, I'm
which
not
the
buying
last
it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it for a second.
Okay.
Roman does not approve of your theory.
I'm just, it is not.
I'm not even blaming Joker for
It is not mine. It's
I
just
know
out there.
it's out there, but that sounds like Ant-Man up the bum kind of of thing.
So, all right.
I
So,
also have a black onyx ring.
Although
Yeah,
let's admit that would have been cool.
Well, I'm just saying, bro.
I mean, I have the one. Ring, is that okay?
So I want to ask this because I've had this conversation a few times, and I think for those of us who know Star Wars and whatnot, there is clear canon breaking events and storylines that are in these that have been in Mando 3, Obi-Wan, and now here. Mind you, all three were either consulted by or Dave was the boss in charge of those. So I have been saying that these things break the canon, and that is just something you just don't do. And a lot of folks I've talked to some folks who are saying, well, George is no longer around and it's Disney. They can do whatever they want. They can change the canon as they see fit. And I'm like, okay, legally, you're right. They own it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, if you're writing a story or making a story for Star Wars or Star Trek, Harry Potter, Dune, whatever it is, Lord of the Rings, you have a responsibility to make your story that fits in that world, that it has to adhere to the rules of that world. And I would just want everyone else's thoughts.
I agree. Like, if you don't want to follow the canon that is already established, do not purchase the IP.
Yeah.
Do your own freaking thing. Make your own thing. Say, hey, it was actually kind of inspired by Star Wars, but we're going to put our own spin on it and call it something else. Why?
Right.
Like, why take these big IPs that already have established canon, established storylines, established history, and established fan base who have expectations for how things are supposed to go, and they're like, actually, it's ours now. We don't care about you anymore.
Because of the established fan base. That's the only.
Yeah, they get the hook in.
You don't make something. You don't make something new because then you have to build your audience from scratch. It's much easier to take something.
That's way harder.
Off all of the fan,
which is what Disney has always done.
Much like Snow White. Why don't you just make another one? Well, because it's not Snow White. Snow White.
Yeah, because they don't care about that. They care about they can make money for them. It's like an investment, basically.
Quick turnaround.
And they can use it as a vehicle to push their message.
But they're losing money as of right now. Like they are not making a profit.
Well, I didn't say it was a good business decision. I just said that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then
my response to, what's up, Matt? And then my response to, well, they can change the canon as they see fit. And I'm like, oh, really? Tell that to a Tolkien fan. See what happens.
Well, right. So they can do whatever they want with the canon, but it doesn't make their show good. And they eventually kill it by doing this to it. It makes people confused. And then after you're confused for so many episodes, you're just like, I'm not even going to bother watching this anymore. Because
Rebel Moon looks pretty good.
It does. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit once we get to our post thing here. And actually, we can jump over to post now, I think. Yeah. So
I wanted to hear Josh's thoughts on that as a writer.
On what? What?
I bought the
I was jokingly gonna go, yeah, okay, but guys, it's like because we're educated and we're so much smarter than you, and we know that the world works in better ways, so we do this, and you're gonna thank us later. It's fine. Like, we know what we're doing. That's Hollywood.
The first Star Wars Joker was written like 50 years ago, and obviously so we need to update it.
Toxic because it's 50 years ago. Oh my God! Hey, did you not know that?
I'm 50 years ago. Actually,
it's weird.
My overall take on the Ahsoka show is that it's better than Obi-Wan by leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah. It does like a sine wave thing. Like it'll have some good things, and then it'll turn around and totally nosedive, and then it'll come back with something that's decent. And usually it revolves around the Hung Lo character and the Ray Stevens character, and just because his writing is so good, and maybe Chopper, and every once in a while, Ahsoka or another character will have kind of like a breakout moment where they say or do something profound that makes some kind of sense. And then the show does a good job of not making a character like super OP or, she's the bestest ever because she's a girl or any of that kind of stuff. It wanders into that territory every once in a while, but the way they went about doing it actually makes the character look worse, in my opinion, than they really are. So I'm kind of right now. It's kind of like a in the middle kind of thing for me, and I need to see the whole thing to really judge it. Right?
Agreed. I'm just going to back Shieldwall for a second because it's dovetailing what he's saying. I think one of the takeaways here is that we need to keep in mind, in a lot of ways, it's a step in the right direction from what we've been getting. Which I know is still not what we want, but at least it's a step. It's almost like there's an awareness that they need to fix a few things. And it seems like the one thing that's really hurting this, I mean, writing, plot could potentially be a little bit better. It seems like most people are upset about characterization. And that's why I think you see such diverse opinions on this is you've got the people that aren't as familiar with the lore of these characters. So all these moments, especially what Mando was saying earlier about the Mandalorians and how long she's trained as a Mandalorian and how skilled she should be. Like as she's explaining that, I'm like, actually, that makes sense. But nothing about the show would let me know that. So I don't have a problem with it until someone explains it. Now, for the people that know the lore, you're like, what the fuck? Like, if you're going to do something right, just get the characters right. And that's what they're missing. Yeah.
Hey, I need to ask a question of the panel. Who on the panel has not with a big NOT, seen Clone Wars or Rebels?
I've seen some of Clone Wars, none of Rebels.
Okay.
I watched all of Rebels. I don't remember that much, and I didn't see any full episodes of Clone Wars.
Okay.
And Jacob?
Both. I saw both.
Okay.
So yeah, I've seen 90% or so.
So my take on this is we are 3 episodes out of 8 in. We're about 120 minutes of feature film into this story, and the story hasn't even really started yet. We got a whole lot of background, just this whole setup. So you've wasted 2 hours of however long your story is supposed to be. This is the most frustrating part of this show.
You should be used to that with these Disney Plus shows by now.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. That is a running problem with the Disney shows is they try to almost write these as a 6 or 8 hour film. And if you release it in like a binge mode, that would be fine. People would just consume it.
Yes.
You wouldn't have it as a problem. When you break it up week to week, you don't have that standard story structure for like a television show. So you're not getting what feels like a complete story within that episode, at least enough to satisfy you or force you to want to come back.
Yeah.
They need to look at this from more. If they're going to release weekly, they need to look at this and try to write these of more of a standard television format with individual episodes. And yeah, you can still have your arc, but you need to have your individual episodes that do their job.
Right, because Mando actually did this, and as I said in the back room, Mando season 2, the Boba Fett episode had a shorter running time than this episode, and it packed in a lot more story than this did.
Yeah. And I think they've slowed it down too.
Yeah.
Instead of make it a little faster and shorter episode.
The pacing is terrible in this.
I wish they would have done, and like this is just like with introducing Sabine, instead of having her have her 15-year-old girl, I'm depressed moment, be like, we see her in like with either Bo-Katan or Din Djarin or someone in the Mandalorian, like she's helping out the Mandos trying to rebuild Mandalore, and like she's in the middle of trying to training, and then Ahsoka's like, hey, I have a lead on Ezra, how about you come with me?
Yeah, put her in like a New Republic strike team or something that's hunting down
have her be
Imperials.
Useful. Maybe she's like, we can still have that dialogue of, like you were my apprentice for a little while, but that didn't work out. But at least she would be doing something useful, except for pouting in her room like a teenager.
There's a lot of fucking pouting.
I mean, the fact that we're 3 episodes in and it's 8 total, it honestly feels like this should have just been a film. And I will blame this on Bob Chapek and Kareem Daniels, because they were making this. You had a business guy making creative decisions about what would be a film, what would be a television series, without taking the story into account. And this feels like, and a lot of the shows have felt this way. It feels like they're suffering from that decision instead of letting the creatives come in and say, "Hey, here's the story we want to tell," and then going, "Yeah, okay, let's move it forward for the series or movie or whatever it might be."
Well, it seems like any film that they greenlight, they just cancel. So,
that's behind the scenes drama.
So. And honestly, that's probably a smart financial move on their part these days. If it's going to be the same kind of quality that they've been putting out.
Well, this episode that we just watched, the vast majority of it didn't really need to happen. For what you got out of it, it didn't even need to be there. You could have thrown in that last fucking 5 minutes of them showing up. The bad guys realize they're on the planet and they need to go hunt them. But you could have thrown that on the front of the next episode, which is probably going to be poorly paced as well. And it would have worked out just fine.
Another thing, that ship, the Eye of whatever, they reveal it in the previous episode. why didn't they wait to reveal it here? It would have had a little bit more
the
impact.
big reveal.
Been like, whoa, that looks like a giant
I think they did it so they could show what the hyperdrive was being used for that they stole from
I guess
Corellia.
But because they didn't even use that when they were talking to the fucking Senate. If they had used that when they were talking to the fucking Senate, and they could say, look, there's this big fucking ship that is probably being built, there's a something, right? But instead it's of course they didn't know. I'm in my brain, I'm giving them knowledge that they don't have.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I'm with Jacob that they shouldn't have showed it in the first episode, and I get they showed them in that room. Like you could have shown them in the room without showing the ring. No one.
How big what it actually was.
Right. And if you would have had one line instead of saying we assume that they're using it for a hyperdrive or chip, whatever. If they would have just said we don't know what they're planning to use it for, you would have planted like this question mystery, like, oh, what is it for? And then when it shows up this episode, you would be like, oh, okay. Well, what are they going to use that for? So,
and I feel like that. I think that some of the stuff in the show is good, and the pacing. Just put more combat in it, more lightsaber fights and space battles. Just have that, and then tie the story together, and you'll be fine. I know that costs a lot of money. More Ray Stevenson. He needs to be like force choking people out, throwing them around and stuff, cutting dudes in half, whatever. That would be cool, instead of staring off into space kind of stoically, which is fine.
Yes.
But
even him doing that is better than most of the lines, so I'll take it.
Was I the only one who didn't realize Ray Stevenson was on the same planet as them at the very end until he mentioned it, and then wondered, wait a second, when did he get there?
I thought that
I didn't even catch that.
He was still at those standing stones or whatever, right? Where they used the map.
So that's where I thought he was, but that's not where he is now.
It turns out that's the same planet that the ring is above.
Oh, it is the same planet.
Yeah.
Just a different part of it.
Yep.
Cool.
Somehow they knew they used that planet for the ring thing, or they moved it there or something that we didn't see. So again, a lot of this, it comes down to it's a 30-minute episode. So they cut so much out that it kind of leaves you either guessing or they're expecting the audience to just not think about those things. And if you have, people that are quote unquote normies that don't think that deep into a show, you're fine. But that's not who Star Wars fans are.
Yeah.
People that make cosplay and go to conventions and sit and watch the movie over and over again, who've seen episode, the very first 1977 movie 50 times. Those are the kind of people that come back and make you money. You would think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the mindless masses out there.
No, exactly.
But, the thing is I want to like this show. It has some, like I said, some rays of hope that break through the clouds. And a lot of shows have done that. The only one that really didn't do that for me was Obi-Wan. That thing was garbage from start to finish.
Well, Boba Fett was also shit. Boba Fett sucked.
It had a baby Rancor. I was on board, but then they totally misused it. So,
I wanted to eat that motherfucker.
I know exactly. It didn't eat anybody hardly. Anyway, but I feel like I'm going to the refrigerator and getting a bottle of spoiled milk, and I keep smelling it, and I put it back in there and come back the next day thinking it might be better, and smell it again and go, nope. So that's what it feels like watching some of these shows.
And like what Shield said, I wanted this show to be good. I am a Ahsoka fan. I have loved this.
Whoa, where'd you pull that out of? Oh, up there. Okay. I thought that came out from underneath.
But this is something that I have this is something that I have been waiting for, and I'm so disappointed. And the more I see it, and the more it just becomes obvious, because for quite some time I was a Dave Filoni defender, and I can't anymore. He is just being exposed as a hack.
Were you a Filoni groupie?
I was a fan, and then
you know what?
And then I see,
it's
and
defendable,
then I see,
though, Joker.
Well, and then I
His
see,
work.
And then a timeline of events start happening, and I'm like, oh.
So yeah, he was supposed to be like the heir of George Lucas, and then somewhere between then and now, everybody kind of like turned on him. What was like the instigating thing to turn people?
Because he was still Rebels was the first thing that he did kind of on his own,
right?
Because in Clone Wars he was overseen by George, so he had to play in George's world, play by his rules. Now, because he was brand new and had never taken on a show where he was in charge, he consulted George a lot for Rebels, which was the first Disney Star Wars project. And George told him, first off, Dave was not happy that George said that Ahsoka should have died in Order 66. Then he was even more upset when he said that she should have died at the hands of Darth Vader, which I agree, because that would have done so much more for the character of Darth Vader.
Like Anakin said,
Ahsoka does get killed by Vader or in Rebels, but then Filoni comes along.
They miracled her ass back. They did that
it.
whole fucking weird ass.
Right. So this is kind of where
Rebels.
Yes and no.
Yeah and no. Yeah.
They correct a thing. It's
right. Once the sequels started coming out, Dave approached Kathleen saying, this is something I would like to do. So she said, okay, well, you need to hang out with JJ. You need to hang out with Ryan. And Ryan and him became very good friends. John is brought on board after the debacle that was The Last Jedi to do a project for Lucasfilm for Disney Plus. This was already starting to be built. So then Bob Iger told Kathleen, okay, I'm bringing Favreau in. He is going to do his own project for Lucasfilm. And she said, well, then I get to pick someone to work with him. So she could have picked anyone. She could have picked Michelle Rejwan. She could have picked Carrie Beck, who worked with Dave on Rebels very, 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 very close. But she picked Dave specifically. After the season finale of Mando season 2, where we saw Luke Skywalker now return, she was not happy with that. She then elevates David to executive creative director, which now puts him as Jon Favreau's boss. So he has been Kathleen's little acolyte to usurp Favreau and do his story the way Star Wars should do it, because Dave's mindset is I have created so much for Star Wars. Star Wars is mine now.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. I like, and you said you used to defend Filoni, and I can see that though. His work on Clone Wars under the tutelage of George, and again on Rebels, was solid work. Again, I like Clone Wars way better than Rebels, but there's still solid pieces of work. But now we move into the next era of Star Wars, and the best thing that was done in the modern era was not done by Dave Filoni; it was done by Jon Favreau. And then they fucking cut his legs off. Jon Favreau is
an actual creative who
cut his legs off though, and you could tell they cut his fucking legs off because that season of Mando sucked. It sucked giant fucking bantha balls. It was terrible.
And And granted, yes, this side of the internet, we've said this cry forever, but I still believe it. When they fired Gina Carano, that's when you knew they took out Favreau's legs, because he handpicked her specifically. And then when they got rid of her, I bet you probably was like, okay, I'm done. Do what you want.
Yeah.
And immediately, just everything about Mando was.
Yeah, it changed just radically. And
right.
It went from being, hey, that's pretty good. I like that.
I didn't watch it either, Dawn.
God. I watched season 3 and I about blew a gasket. I about had an aneurysm.
I caught the end of Boba Fett, which was kind of a season 3 of Mando, wasn't it?
So Mando season 2. Mando season 2 had an audience approval score of 91%. Season 3, 50.
Yeah, it's
and I can see that.
Oh,
Boba Fett, I fucking hated Boba Fett. I fucking hated Boba Fett so much.
Yes.
I yelled
they completely
through the entire
broke their
fucking
own
series.
Every single episode of season 3 of Mando, they broke their own canon. They established that same episode. The Darksaber, he just crushed it. Oh, it means nothing. You mean to tell me all of Rebels, all of season 2 of Mando, all of this other Star Wars that say that the Darksaber is so important, you're just like, it's like crushed. Just poof. Like, what?
When he easily could have just crushed her hand and taken it.
He did crush her hand, but
her hand was crushed. No.
Like, they broke their own canon they established.
And in Boba Fett, during the Mandalorian episodes of Boba Fett, the couple, they fucked Luke Skywalker up in those.
Oh.
The good they did with that one little bit. You know, he's on screen for that long in season 2, and people were like, fuck, this is so cool. In season, oh, hey, Mrs. Saucy Sasquatch.
Yeah.
In Boba Fett, they had those couple episodes, and Luke was in them, and they fucking cut his balls off. He was ballless.
They did this.
Yes, they did.
Got to use that. Yeah.
He did. He was waiting for that. I'm glad he had the opportunity.
He just had to get it
the thing that he did with Grogu, like, you either choose this or this. That is not what.
No,
that is not Luke Skywalker in any way, shape, form, or fashion. He would not make his first ever possible pupil choose between being a Mandalorian and being a Jedi. His whole
that sounds like something a Sith would do.
Yes, that is exactly what a Sith would do.
Only
here, look at this shiny lightsaber. Ooh.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it
yes, the shiny lightsaber or this mithril.
Yeah, the mithril vest.
Y'all can tell what I would have chosen anyway.
He should have pulled Alexander the Great and just picked both of them.
Right. Like,
so
didn't they kind of do that with Anakin? Like, they made him give up the family, right? That kind of led to him going to the dark side.
Well, Jedis aren't supposed to have families. That's why they're not supposed to have families. Anakin broke the rules.
He broke the rules, which led him
to that,
to the dark side, right? And
how Palpatine played on was his fear, his love of his wife and his fear of losing her. He played on that.
But he played on the loss and fear of his mother first, which then translated to his wife.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But I'm saying but they made Anakin do that choice, but then making Grogu.
They didn't actually really give him a choice. Anakin was going to be trained regardless if the Jedi Order approved it or not. Kenobi said that to them. I will train him whether or not I get your approval. So because the Jedi Order did not want him trained. They said he is too old. He has
and too dangerous.
Attachments, all right, and too dangerous because he has attachments already. And Kenobi's like, I'm going to train him anyway because Qui-Gon. I made a promise to Qui-Gon, and so they reluctantly were like, fine. Train him, but it's gonna end badly. And
by the way,
spoiler alert,
Grogu is 50 years old. He doesn't have any attachments.
Exactly. Seems to be a little bit of a,
So Luke is making the same mistakes that the Jedi Order made, which is stupid because the whole point of his Jedi Order, especially in the EU, he trained them more in the ways of what would be considered the gray Jedi, but still like
gray Jedis are not a thing.
Right. I but not in the traditional old Jedi Order.
He would teach them. He would teach them more like Qui-Gon would had Qui-Gon lived.
Yes.
Can't believe he died after getting stabbed in the stomach.
I know. What a little bitch.
Pansy. It's just a flesh wound. Get up.
It's just a flesh wound.
Have y'all seen?
We've got a couple minutes before I want to go into our closings, but I had a whole list of things we could have talked about tonight, but this thing, because the episode had as many issues as it did, it gave us more to talk about than the episode itself was very short and not a lot happened. But the things that happened, there weren't a lot of good things that happened in the episode, but the problematic things that happened in the episode really were a lot of conversation. So we brought this up very briefly. It's the Zack Snyder Rebel Moon. The trailers for this look good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. Snyder is inconsistent. His later stuff has not been awesome. But what I like what they're talking about here. Getting rid of moral relativism and having clear boundaries of good and evil. That's what Star Wars was. Star Wars was clear boundaries of good and evil.
Well, this just to let you know that this story was pitched to Lucasfilm and Kathleen said no.
That leads me to believe it's probably pretty good because
I don't know, man. He's had some turds.
It's Snyder. It's Snyder. He is okay. Snyder only works.
I don't know.
Snyder only works if he has a clear blueprint to follow. The minute he has to think for himself, it goes off the rails.
I'm
but also, like, if KK says it's bad, that's got some merit for me saying it's better than what Disney is putting out right now.
If she says it's bad, it's either really, really good or it is garbage.
Right.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen a lot of gray area with Snyder. I loved Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was fucking fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
2004
one
with
and not everybody dug it. I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the 300. I thought the 300 was fucking amazing.
Okay, because Roman, that is
following a script.
That is,
I know.
And it is basically a panel for panel film. It is panel for panel.
Same thing with Watchmen. Watchmen was
went out and did Sucker Punch.
I fucking hated Sucker Punch.
Right. There you go.
One of the worst things.
And that one with the casino.
You have to see the director's cut, which is a theme with him. And by the way,
I don't have to see it.
No. Well, what I mean is, if you see the director's cut, not the theatrical release, it makes more sense, and it's a better movie that way.
Yeah.
But then you have to argue better. But is it good?
There you go.
I liked it way more once
I didn't like the
I
theme of the
saw
movie.
it.
My thing with Snyder is I think he's actually a shit storyteller. I don't think he can, when he's got the people writing scripts for him, I don't think he develops a good story. Visually, I don't think he develops a good story. What he does well is essentially cinematography. He can make beautiful films. That is it. And he's gotten to where he relies way too heavily on slow motion. And
oh my God, yeah.
I will agree with that. I cannot.
I think the point we're getting at here, Matt Vader, is that it could be really good because it could be like 300 or the Watchmen, or it can be really crap. So
it's kind of what you do with trailers.
I don't think we're judging it. We're just, I guess,
reacting to the trailer.
Oh no, Copa, fuck that. Oh, that's terrible. I mean,
I bet he is.
I read that somewhere.
No,
I think he's
Copa,
literally saying that.
Is he saying that already?
Yeah, he's literally saying that already.
No.
Here's the thing. He's saying that already because when it releases, people are going to talk about how there's plot holes and things don't work. And then he's going to have 3 to 5 years to listen to what everyone's saying about why it doesn't work. So he can go like, oh, no, this was planned the entire time. And we're going to go make this film now.
Bush does have a point, though. He says that about all his films, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, but like I said, the first 3 that I rattled off, Dawn of the Dead, 300, and then Watchmen. I enjoy all those movies immensely. And I've seen both versions of them, directors and others. We go to Justice League. Well, Batman versus Superman is just a shit movie, and I've seen both versions of that as well. It's a shit movie, either version. It was just a longer shit movie.
Man of Steel is also highly problematic for me.
See, I like Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's not.
I know I'm.
It's not Superman. It's not the Kents. His dad would never
okay.
let himself die like that. Like it's just no.
I didn't like the color costume parts. I can agree with that.
Man of Steel is a decent superhero film. It's a terrible Superman film.
If you're gonna kill off Clark Kent's father, it should be something he has no control over.
Correct.
Like a heart attack.
Yep.
Yeah, because he could have saved him from the hurricane or tornado or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, no, and I didn't like the Jonathan Kent ending. I did like his when he was talking to his son when he was little. I thought that was good. And like I said, I know I'm in the minority on Man of Steel as well too, and I can accept that, and that's fine. I get it, and I'm not going to go crazy trying to defend the movie because I know it's got a lot of fucking flaws. But then you get the Justice League where theatrical release was complete fucking shit. But I actually didn't mind the fucking 17-hour version of it.
Hated it
nearly as much.
I'm not joking.
Slow motion.
I'm not joking. I would much rather watch the theatrical version than Snyder's version.
Ooh.
Just because it's shorter, Josh.
Because the characters actually feel like the characters half the time. Like if you've got Wonder Woman knocking the shit out of someone that their head busts open on a wall, which is what happened in Snyder's version, fuck off. Like for me, none of his characters are in character ever.
Now I will say, I will say this: the one thing that Whedon does better than Snyder is dialogue.
Yeah, and look, if we're gonna be honest, both of them got put in a shit spot. Like this was following Man of Steel was not supposed to be Batman v Superman. Like there were other plans that he had going forward. He had to like fast track it because that's what Warner Brothers wanted. And then to Joss Whedon's defense, they told Zack Snyder to pretty much make a 2-film Justice League film. Then they decided they didn't want that because of his tone. But then they pretty much told Joss Whedon, hey, take these 2 films, make them 1 film and push it out. Like you're losing across the board, and it's all because of studio interference.
I just wish
they got it corrected for the last Flash movie.
Stop.
I finally saw that. I finally saw the Flash. By the way,
fuck off.
Well, you know why I saw it? Because it was fucking free. That's why.
Yeah, because on Max now.
It's on Max.
It is. That's how I saw it. I saw
it's
it
on
the other
Max.
day.
I was like, well, because I wasn't going to give them money for it. I'm like, I'm gonna. And it was
the
funny.
only thing I saw from the. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The only thing I saw from the Flash was Flash putting a baby in a microwave.
Oh yeah.
That was fucking horrible. That
But
whole
all you need to
opening
see.
sequence was terrible.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind the entire. I don't like Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller 1 bothered me less than Ezra Miller 2. He bothered me a great deal.
Yep.
But whatever. I hated the beginning of the movie and I hated the end of the movie.
Same.
I didn't mind the middle part so much, but it wasn't a good movie. If that makes any sense.
How was Keaton Batman in it?
Pretty good.
I thought it was fine. And I get it. It's an alternate version.
What you saw in the trailer is what you get in the film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, maybe a bit more of that, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. The scene in Russia was really good, and I liked him in the climax. The one thing that they did well in the climax is they subverted my expectations in a good way. I didn't expect them to do what they did with Keaton.
No, you're 100%. There were events in the movie that I didn't see coming. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but I also did see what ended up being, I guess, the ultimate villain.
Yeah,
I saw that coming as soon as I saw the fucking action figures. I knew what they were doing. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah, you kind of figured that
so
out.
they weren't very they weren't good at a lot of the things in that movie, most of that movie. I would say all that movie because, like I said, there were aspects of it that I thought were all right.
And also, it was like an opportunity to set up your next universe, and they just didn't do like anything with it.
So I didn't see the movie yet. I'm probably gonna sail the high seas for it. So there was one scene that I saw where Supergirl person, whatever, was lifting what seemed to be like a dead body up. Who was that she was lifting up?
It's probably Batman.
Was it?
I don't remember. It could have been me. I'm not even sure at this
Spoiler
point.
alert.
I was drunk maybe 2 or 3 times when I watched it. It was fine.
I guessed that it was.
There's a whole lot of like they do that scene like over and over. They kind of run through it with kind of a time.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Could have been several people.
It was. It wasn't Clark or anybody like that.
Clark wasn't. Remember, he doesn't exist in this universe because of
It's Kara who wasn't. Which wasn't Kara.
No, it wasn't Kara. Michael Keaton's Batman, his explanation of those events was better than I actually expected. Because it's the whole time not being linear and the whole spaghetti version of it. In context of the film, it at least helped because it wouldn't make sense that Kal-El doesn't make it here. But if you look at it from the context of you just literally fucked up the entire timeline for everyone, not just here, it's better. I know, like I said, it's not great, but it was better than I expected. But it's still, I'm glad it's that this part of it is done, but I'm also not thrilled with James Gunn right now. James Gunn has said some incredibly stupid things. Well, not just recently. Like he didn't, and I'm not a big fan of the original Batman stuff either. I liked it at the time, and I've admitted this before. I don't think that Batman 89 has aged particularly well. I just don't. I thought back in the day it was brilliant because it was the first fucking Batman that we ever saw. Mm-hmm. But watching it now, I have a lot of issues with that movie. It's not even Keaton's performance. I don't like Jack Nicholson in it. I can say that.
Yeah, that was my.
I don't like him in that movie.
I didn't like those older movies.
Jack was just being Jack.
Yeah, which is.
It was just like I said, didn't have enough action.
I don't like
that's kind of his acting range, though. Is him being?
It's him. Which a lot of actors are. That's the roles they are still that fucking actor, and you can think of at least half a dozen fucking actors.
The Rock.
That is the same thing. Fucking Ryan, fucking the piece of wood cocksucking Gosling. I don't like him. I don't like him a lot for a myriad of reasons. I don't like fucking Ryan Gosling, but he's always Ryan Gosling in every fucking movie he's in.
So
but like I said,
you mean you don't?
A lot of
so you mean
actors.
So you mean you don't think he's enough?
It's been nice having Joker with us. No, so anyway, we actually do need
it's
to.
It's been a long night, folks.
Anyway, I had a whole list of topics we were going to talk about, but we didn't need to get to them because
Joker wouldn't shut up.
We talked a lot about this episode, and this is episode 3 of what? Is this 6 or 8? I'm sorry, Josh. Is this 6 or 8 episodes?
8. I think it's 8. Yeah.
So we're not quite at the halfway point. Episodes 1 and 2 were at least something. They weren't a lot. Episode 3 was a big nothing. Episode 4, a lot of fucking things need to happen to move this series forward.
Like a story.
Right now, we're watching this show, and we saw this that I know Disney gave their fucking jerk off 14 million number, which is complete fucking fabrication for how they manufactured that using an abacus and a time machine and multiplication tables that don't exist anywhere in our fucking timeline. Where the actual number is more in the 1 point something million range, just to people over a 6-day period who actually watch the show. It's not. It doesn't have fucking viewers, guys.
1.2.
it's got us. Hey, Corey, how are you? Glad you joined us. We're about to wrap up, and I'm glad to hear. This doesn't have good viewership, and Disney can blame itself for that because of what it did in Boba Fett, Kenobi, Mandalorian season 3. It has fucking sacrificed its major parts of the franchise for Filoni's fucking ego. I don't even know what. Doesn't matter. The shows.
The Force is female. That's right.
And everyone can use the Force.
Yes. So the bad viewership of Ahsoka is a direct reflection of everything that came before it. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah.
This should have been good. Kenobi should have been the flagship show, though. After Mandalorian, should have been Kenobi. Kenobi should have been bringing in viewers left and right, but it was shit. And so
when you had Ewan McGregor in it, man, how do you F that up?
How do you fuck that up? And they did. They fucked it up royally. It's like a bantha ate him and shit him out. There is fucking Obi-Wan, a big pile of fucking bantha covered fuck on your fucking screen.
The actress that they got to play Leia.
Oh, the little retarded child. I felt bad for her.
She's just a kid, man.
Yeah,
no. I've
seen
shade
against the actors.
That's on casting. That's on directors.
Yeah, that's on them. What I mean is
6-year-old for being that actress. You gotta.
I can bag on him. I don't give a fuck. Someone signed them up for that. She could have been a fucking, just eating paste or whatever in her classroom. She would have been better off sticking around with that. Fuck that. Fuck all these people associated.
When Kenobi was trying to catch little Leia, why didn't he just use the Force?
Because she was faster than him, and the Force is female.
Oh, that's why.
And clearly
because of the patriarchy, is that why?
And clearly, an 8-year-old who runs like a toddler can outrun adults.
I stick by my original statement regarding that. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this thing up. Clearly, we loved this episode. It is the cornerstone of Disney Plus Star Wars. But we will be back next week to look at episode 4. And who knows? Like I said, they need to do a lot of stuff in episode 4 to make this better as a fucking product. I want more Ray Stevenson personally. I want to see more of the bad guys. I think the bad guys are the highlight of the show for me. In episodes 1 and 2, they were the best part. We didn't get much of them in episode 3. We got way too much of other things in episode 3, which didn't matter. Episode 3 mattered that much in the context of this overall story. And even without seeing the future episodes, I know this episode didn't matter. So anyway, let's go around the horn as we get ready to wrap up here. So Shieldwall, my good friend, what do you have coming up, brother?
Saturday, I think Jacob is having a special anniversary stream, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And so I will be on that. So I look forward to that. And then next Tuesday, we are doing on his channel Twilight Zone, 2 episodes. And then, of course, next week for episode 4 on this channel. So that's what I got going on. And still recovering from, the surgery and everything. So I've kind of...
You sound really good. You do.
You sound great, man.
It's almost there. Just tired sometimes for no reason. I don't know. I guess when, that kind of stuff happens. But anyway, looking forward to it all. Good to kind of getting back into things. Good to see everybody.
Did you get a lightsaber to your stomach or something?
No, I had some stuff I had surgery on my tongue, so I couldn't talk for a while, and not eat real food and stuff. Just liquid soup. Got to clarify soup. And,
remember your audience, my friend. Remember your audience. Phrasing is important.
I was for a split second. I was like, "Oh, if I was in the military, the things that I could have just teed up for somebody right there."
Room, brother.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's good to be back. Good to see everybody in the chat. We had a good chat tonight, and if nothing else, these shows give us lots to talk about.
They do. They're not good for my blood pressure, but they are a lot of fun. So, Mando, what else do you have coming up?
Oh, it is gonna be busy week. So tomorrow my Sea of Thieves stream, and I have more rum. Yay! Apparently everyone likes to see me drink rum.
Where's the rum gone?
Why is the other rum gone? Then this Saturday for Literary Souls, I will be doing my review of the first book of the Witcher series, The Last Wish. So, woo! And then Sunday, I will probably be on my friend Wicked Virtues channel unless something else happens. We're gonna be playing some Red Dead Redemption, which is a cowboy game. Woo! Yes, Monday.
Boom!
basically Monday I will be on my Kick stream playing some Dungeons and Dragons for you nerds and geeks out there, so be rolling some dice and possibly I don't know what else. And then I'll be on Tuesday, I'll be on Jacob Ironside's channel again with the Twilight Zone, and then this next Thursday I will be back here for everyone's viewing pleasure.
and we do try to make these fun for you guys. We know the show kind of sucks, but doesn't mean we can't have fun with it. That's the point. I mean, it is what it is. Our analysis is supposed to be informative and amusing. Tyler, what do you have coming up, my red-bearded friend?
Yeah, I got Monday going to be over on Legion with the episode 3, I think, of season. The next season of Game of Thrones, along with Joker Boys.
Season 5. Yep.
And season 5, episode 3. And
still good at that point.
For me, man. So thanks for having me on.
No, glad to have you back. Enjoying this panel very, very much.
Except for Joker.
Well, of course, goes without saying.
Hi.
My good friend Joker. What do you have?
Hello, yes. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing a read and reaction of an article that a good friend of all of us, Pops, brought up, talking about the upcoming series, which I know we're all excited for, Agatha Harkness and the Coven of Chaos.
Agatha!
You're welcome. So I will be doing that tomorrow morning, and then Friday, and then tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on Legion Talk for Friday night's Royal Rumble. Like Tyler said, the Monday, my last week's news now, Game of Thrones with Legion Talk again. Wednesday, we'll be doing my review of episode 4, and then I'll be back here a week from today. Thanks again for having me, and to everyone here. Always love the insights. I really like the fact that we have a film guy, a writer, and fans, so we get all perspectives.
Right on. No, yes, it's a very mixed group. It's not a homogenous. Everybody is this, everybody is that, and our views on the show don't also necessarily line up.
Are you saying diversity is their strength?
View does? No.
Okay.
No. I couldn't get either AJ or Ego on, so that I lost some points there.
Wow.
Jacob Ironside, what do you have coming up, my friend?
Yes, so Saturday, you're on YouTube celebration, and there's going to be a couple people on the panel, and I'm just going to open the chat up to, people can pop onto the stream and say hello and pop off. So then Twilight Zone, 1969 Twilight Zone, or 1959 Twilight Zone, episodes 9 and 10. And then I'll be back here next Thursday.
Right on. Hey, what are those Twilight Zone episodes, Jacob? What are the? I don't know the numbers.
I'll have to pull it up. Let me pull it up. Go ahead to others, and I'll pull it up.
Right on. So, Josh McDonald, Pop by Culture, our good friend. What do you have coming up, buddy?
I don't have anything. So, Jacob, I hope you're ready. No, I'm kidding.
This Sunday, I'm going to be on Max's Man Cave with MVP.
Cool.
We'll probably be talking. Well, actually, we've got some. He introduced some cringe videos this past Sunday, and he decided he liked doing that enough that he's going to make it a weekly thing. So we've got some cringe videos coming up, and it was a fun little text chat between the group of us. Because he sent something, he's like, "Oh, we've got to do this," and then we all started one-upping him with worse videos. So looking forward to that. I'll just say one of the videos that we landed on has someone interviewing a writer, and they say, quote, "As an autistic transgender lesbian, I have aspirations of being an actor." So I'm just gonna and then followed by a really weird noise. So this is a tease of what you can look forward to.
Was it Dylan Mulvaney?
No.
Was it Hunter J?
Superman, don't stop the missiles. Superman, let the missiles fall.
This person who was once a male now identifies as a female reminded me of Sid the Sloth from Ice Age. I'll just
that is interesting. That is not good. That is
also now
not
a
something
lesbian.
anyone.
I love Sid, by the way.
Only
awesome.
in looks. Only in looks, though. Okay.
Okay, that's still that's fucking horrible,
That's
Josh.
why they
absolutely
were lesbian.
That's
So,
hilarious.
now that I'm going to hell, Sunday night Max's Man Cave. Tuesday night we will have Culture Popped on my channel. Come hang out. If you missed this past week's episode, go watch it. Aaron Sparrow, my co-host, was super spicy. So it was a lot of fun to watch him kind of rant. And then I think I'm back here Thursday night. So
Yep.
Awesome.
Right on. Jacob, did you pull those episodes out? Right.
Yeah, the episodes are episode 9 is Perchance to Dream, and episode 10 is Judgment Night.
Right on. So for the Twilight Zone aficionado, that is the place to be as well.
Where's Twilight Zone at? Is that like Netflix or something?
You got to rent. Well, I have to rent them.
Yeah, there is. I can't think of the place now, but there is a place that you can watch it for free. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I have to rent them on Amazon or buy them on Amazon because they're only like $2 an episode. But so, and for the Of the Empire channel, we are doing a Labor Day special. I'm going to be teaming with Admiral Teague, who is a giant Star Trek guy. You may be aware that I have mild Star Trek knowledge myself. But we're going to be having a Star Wars and Star Trek discussion about the once great franchises and what has happened to them and do they have a future? So we're going to be having a discussion about that. It's funny because I've already been attacked for being a black-pilled Star Wars fan.
You're not?
I love Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. I hate what Star Wars has become. I would like for Star Wars to come back, but
Gary,
I also need to see
Gary said it right.
For that.
Gary said it right. There is Star Wars and there is Disney Star Wars.
Spoken like a
100%.
true bigot.
Yep.
It's that green-headed tentacle lady. I knew it. Anyway, so we've got that coming up Monday at 5 Pacific Standard. It's going to be both on my channel and Admiral Teague's channel. So please tune in for that. It's going to be, I think, a good, fun discussion between two fans of two just amazing franchises that have had a fall from grace. So check it out. And then, of course, we're back here next Thursday on Of the Empire to look at episode 4 and hopefully something that doesn't suck, but I guess we'll see what happens there. So I want to thank so much the panel for hanging out this week. Again, I enjoy these conversations a great deal because I get so much from you guys. So you guys are great. And I want to thank the chat. You guys were great tonight. Even when you're not, you are, which is subtle. I'm talking to you specifically. But you guys really brought a lot this week, and it's always so much fun having you out there, mainly beating me up. That's all right. That's what I'm here for. Until next time, I'm fucking this up already, but that's what I'm here for. Please like and sub to the channel. I am 10 away from 400 now on my slow climb through the YouTube ranks. So if you can, give me a sub. And but always be